Lenny, I've been trying to get you on this interview now for at least a month. Finally, we got together, and I'm really looking forward to seeing who you are, and I want to know something more about you than just the tango guy, the Milonguero that I know. So,
and I've been trying to avoid this the whole time.
exactly. So, my first question to you is one that I will ask everybody, and that is, how did you get started in tango?
Well, I've done social dancing all my life,
Right.
because I'm old enough to have been, when I was in junior high school, like Elvis Presley, and I saw Elvis Presley on Ed Sullivan. I saw, Bill Haley and the Comets come in on a cherry picker on American Bandstand, and we had dances at school that were rock and roll dances, and we did swing dancing.
Yeah.
I just thought of it as the jitterbug at that time. Okay. But so I've done that all my life, and particularly my first wife loved to dance, and I don't know, she gave me one dance lesson at some point. I don't know what she taught me, but and so I've always done dancing, and I've always loved it. I never took any dance lessons, and then I fell in love with salsa music. I played salsa music for a while. When I got divorced, I decided to really take salsa lessons. And
What part of your life? What part of your life did you get divorced?
Oh, well, my second divorce
Yeah.
was about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, something like that.
All right.
I'm not sure it all blends together at this point, But I tried to do salsa dancing before that, but I hadn't really taken good lessons. And so I started, I thought, I'll take lessons, a couple of lessons, and then I'll go out dancing and I'll meet women, right? And I had no idea that I was going to get completely hooked on dancing, and took lessons all the time at the old Allegro Ballroom from Gary Johnson. And one day, probably after a couple of years of this, I was dancing with a woman she was a dream to dance with. I mean, just like, it was like butter. She was the incredible follower. And I ran into her in the grocery store and started talking. She was also a tango dancer. And she said to me, if you really want to understand leading and following, you have to take tango.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
on the advice of a woman.
Yeah. And I had no interest in tango. I didn't listen to the music. I had no just interest in the dance. But I thought, okay. And I signed up for lessons the next day.
At Allegro?
No, not at Allegro. That was at Alma del Tango in San Rafael.
Okay. You're living in San Rafael?
Yeah, I live in San Rafael.
Okay.
And that was just a little bit before COVID hit, I think. And I started taking lessons there. And I mean, you know how, I don't want to be negative about anybody, but everybody's always looking for the right teacher for them. Right. I don't think it was the right place for me to be learning. Right. And then COVID hit, and when COVID went away, I think, then I got back into taking tango lessons, and went to a few other places, ended up with the teacher who I'm really happy with now, until I find another teacher that I want to go to. I mean, there's so much to learn.
So who are you with?
I'm with Jean-Pierre.
Okay.
At he calls it Magdalena technique, which is just this word he made up.
Yes.
I mean, for him it meant you're focused on the woman.
That was my second teacher.
Oh yeah.
And when he was in Oakland, there next to the lake, for quite a while, he called it Tango Magdalena.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was for several years. He had one of the best milongas in town.
Well, I realized eventually, there was a woman in one of my classes before that, who said to me once, you know, all of these steps are completely unimportant. If you can just walk well,
Yeah.
I'm totally happy.
Right.
And I realized I didn't really know how to walk right. Now, I don't know how many years I've been doing this already, at least 2 or 3, and maybe if you count from the beginning, it was maybe 4 years, you know. And I didn't know how to walk. And so I started to ask different teachers, just show me how to walk, and they didn't. And then somebody sent me to Jean Pierre.
He has a great walk.
And Jean Pierre, you know, I was the only person in there that day, and he just said, this is how you walk.
Yeah.
1, you put your foot here, you bend your knee. Now you move this foot. Now you move that foot. Now you turn your body a little bit. And the next week I went to this other class, and woman I was dancing with immediately said, oh, you got better.
Great.
And that was it.
You want to hear.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't hear that too often.
Exactly. No, you don't hear it all that. I get it fairly often, but I always figure, I guess that means I was really bad. It means both, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that's how you got started.
that's how I got started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has your reason to do tango changed from when you first got started? Why do you keep doing tango now?
For a long time, I would ask myself, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when I signed up, I had no idea how hard this was going to be, how many lessons would be involved, how much money would be spent.
Yeah.
I would probably have never started it.
Yeah. You haven't.
I have not had that kind of an experience yet, but I hear about it from people, and I assume that's why so many women I know, I'll say, oh, do you do any other kind of dancing? And they'll say, well, I used to do this, I used to do salsa, and they say, now I only want to do tango.
Yeah.
Which to me, it's like, I don't understand that. I have more fun, just
Yeah.
straight up fun,
Right.
doing swing or salsa, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't get it, but I imagine once you have that kind of experience, and I also imagine I'll probably, when I do, I'll be exactly like you. I'll want to go out for coffee. I think yeah, you know, why not?
But if you're with an experienced dancer, she's going to say no.
Yeah. Unless she's interested.
Yeah.
She could be interested.
Right.
You know, hope it's not dead yet.
Well, you know, I mean, you mentioned early on that you wanted, after your divorce, you wanted to go out and be with some women, you know.
Yeah.
And tango is a good thing to do, to meet women. But the kind of the bad thing about it is that it's kind of frowned on to do much talking and stuff while you're dancing. But you are being with that woman who you've never danced with before, and it's like you don't even know her name, and you're dancing, and you're like meeting her from the inside out, rather than, hey, what's your name? You know,
Right.
what do you do for a living? You know, where do you live? And you're just kind of like from the outside, you getting closer.
I think all dancing is like that. All partner dancing.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. It's true because there are people that you dance with, and even if it's salsa or swing, and there's just a communication
with the
that
body.
happens.
With the
Yeah,
body
it's
and the-
physical.
And they don't talk.
And yeah, it's not well. You can't talk. You can talk in tango. You can't talk in swing or salsa.
Oh, yeah.
The music's too loud, you know.
Oh, I
and
see.
you're not
I see.
embracing.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're meeting each other on a physical level,
Right.
And you're feeling whether there's communication,
Right.
and fun, whether someone is playful with you or not, you know.
Right. So,
But I've, in an odd way, I think I've found that I've definitely, whether I'm addicted to tango or not, I'm definitely addicted to dancing. And I don't think that's been good for meeting women.
Yeah.
I mean, I meet a ton of women, but I'm only interested in being with a dancer. I'm only interested in being with somebody who I like to dance with,
Yeah.
who is my age,
Yeah.
who also likes to dance with me,
Yeah.
who I'm also attracted to. I've narrowed my pool of available women from here down to this small sliver. And then you don't want to be, you don't want to be coming on to all the dancers. Then you're
No.
like, then you're a bit of a,
I
then
guess
they're going to talk about you behind your
is
back,
that,
right?
is that what you're experiencing? Is that most people just are there to dance? And
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
is
know
that
what's
right?
I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on in their heads.
Everybody's different.
I don't really know. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of I assume that there are plenty of women who are interested in. I mean, if you're single,
Yeah.
most of us would like to have a partner.
Yeah.
On one level or another, whether you're going to live with them or marry them or just
Right.
whatever.
Right.
There certainly are plenty of women who go out dancing and they've got a husband or a boyfriend back home who doesn't,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly.
Sadly, I find that out often.
Yeah, there are a lot of them, and
Yeah.
there's just great women, but they just are hooked up with somebody
Yeah.
that doesn't dance. And the
Exactly.
thing is, though, that
I'm available, though. By the way.
okay, I'll cut that out. There are a lot of people that are there for their own reasons, and everybody has a different reason, and you don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite amazing. But anyway, and then I wanted to ask you, Lenny, about music. And that you are a musician. Have you ever been? Are you a professional musician? I know you're into videography and various other things. What is it that what was your major profession when you have been for the last 20 or 30 years?
I didn't play music till I was almost 30.
Oh, okay.
So my profession has been, I'm a film and video cameraman.
Ah, right.
The official word is director of photography. I'm in charge of lighting and the camera work. And
Okay.
Professionally, I work as a film and video cameraman. Started off in film, and then it's all become video. I wanted to shoot feature films, but I didn't move to Los Angeles, and that's where that business is. That's a long story, but so I do documentaries, a lot of stuff for companies and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I love my work. It's not really what I wanted. I wanted to do features. It's not the stuff I do is not as challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's always challenging. I love the people I work with.
Yeah.
And music, I really fell in love with music when I was a teenager.
Okay. What kind of music were you listening to?
Well, I was just your basic teenager. I listened to different kinds of music, and I got interested in jazz.
Yeah.
But I was listening to, it was no big thing. I went to listen to Dave Brubeck and stuff. But I had a friend in high school who was a very, very good jazz musician already. His father had been a swing drummer. He was an incredible saxophone player at 16.
Wow.
And he took me one day, said, "Come with me, we're going to go to New York, and you're going to hear real jazz." And he took me to Birdland, which was,
really? Wow.
like the jazz corner of the world, they called it. And we heard Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, which to anybody who knows about that is like one of the greatest jazz groups ever in the history of the world.
Yeah.
And
That must have been an experience.
it was incredible. I mean, it was tiny. I mean, this place was maybe half the size of your downstairs. It was just a little hole in the wall. So you were right there.
Wow.
And it was a traditional world, had chick girls. And
What kind of crowd was it?
It was, but the crowd in those days was, it was mixed. It was black, it was white. Certainly would have been a large proportion of black people. I don't remember the crowd.
Okay.
I remember, but the music was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable to me. And I never came back. And I think that probably all the jazz that I listened to after that was probably everything historically that led up to Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers and everything that came after.
Yeah.
Which is really the center of
When
jazz
did you
music.
start playing an instrument?
Well, I thought I was too old at 15. My friend was this great saxophone player at 16.
Wow.
And he was the only musician I knew. It's not like I don't know who he played music with, actually, except for the school band. And I had taken a couple of, I played piano as a kid for a couple of years. My mom taught piano.
Yeah.
So there was a piano in the house, and I would sit down and screw around with it. But like I said, I always thought I was too old to take lessons. And a couple of times I ran into musicians who almost started to teach me. And I was going to take piano lessons, but that never happened. And then I was 28 years old. I had a job that, and even as a cameraman, I got into it late.
That's pretty weird.
I got into it pretty late, and I think that I was like I was an arty experimental filmmaker in my 20s. And that's because I had been introduced to that stuff when I was in college, and I loved it. So I made the kinds of films I made nobody ever saw. Nobody saw these films. Later on, rock videos would copy all the stuff that we were doing, but in those days, you only saw it if you were into the art world.
Right.
And I got on unemployment because I had had some job or other, and I ran into this character we called Crazy Larry, who was just an oddball on 24th Street in San Francisco. And Larry had a saxophone. He was a terrible musician. Larry played free. He would meet women at coffee shops, invite them up to his apartment, take pictures of them naked with his dog and the saxophone. He wasn't trying to have sex with them. But he had this tenor sax, and I went up, smoked a joint with Larry. And I said, how do you play that thing anyway? And I picked it up, and he showed me how to get a sound out of it. And it was like I got hit with a lightning bolt.
Wow.
I just felt like, oh my God, I've wanted to do this all my life.
Right.
And I mean, after I went to Birdland that time, I went to jazz clubs in San Francisco, in New York, all the time. From high school, I would just get on the bus, go to New York, come home at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
My friend, my saxophone playing friend, who never suggested that I take lessons, but he always used to say that I had big ears because I heard music like a musician did. At any rate, listening to jazz and going to jazz was a big part of my life.
Yeah.
I went out the next day, just like with tango. I went out the next day and I bought a saxophone. Wow. And I started to take lessons, and it was a huge change in my life.
Yeah.
I felt like something was filled,
Right.
like this cavity in my chest or
Right.
my solar plexus really had been filled up, and I still play.
Yeah.
I took terrible lessons for a long time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like tango. You have to find the right teacher.
Right.
But eventually ended up with the right teachers and found my way into playing with people. And so I became an amateur jazz musician.
Right.
And what I would call a gigging amateur.
Right.
So I could play. I wasn't ashamed to play. People would like the way I played,
Right.
but I was not a professional. I didn't have the chops and the abilities of a real professional
Right.
saxophone player.
Did you practice by yourself?
Oh,
Spend a lot of time?
Hours and hours and
This
hours.
is by yourself practicing.
Oh yeah, hours and hours and hours and hours. I mean, my problem was that before I would go out to play, if it was just a jam session,
Yeah.
I would be very, I'd feel like I had to really practice. I would practice 3 hours before I went out, and then
Yeah.
I'd go out for the last half hour,
Yeah.
and everybody would say, "Where the fuck have you been?"
Yeah.
And and then I'd think, oh, as soon as I heard the drums, why didn't I go earlier? I did that over and over.
Yeah.
The process of learning to play jazz, I would say, and probably any form of music, but particularly jazz, was very similar to the process of learning tango.
Yeah.
Jazz is very, very difficult technically.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of dwarfs playing blues or rock and roll or anything
Yeah.
like that. You really have to learn your technical stuff.
Right. Right.
And then when you go to play, you've learned all these things and then you try to apply them. But if you're trying to apply them, then you're never going to apply them really right. I mean, if you listen to interviews with great musicians, they'll say, "What do you think about when you're playing?"
Right.
And they'll say, "Nothing. I empty my mind." Well, that's still a goal for me as a musician,
Interesting.
is to empty my mind. But I think tango is probably the same thing. You don't want to be thinking of what you're doing and your form and all of these technical things.
So the two entities that you have are yourself, and then you have your audience, people listening.
Yeah.
And so you're the leader, obviously. You're producing. You're both the leader and the music.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily the leader. I'm rarely the leader. in
Well,
a
I
group.
mean, but you're aren't you? How you phrase it?
Yeah. When
know,
I'm taking a solo, I mean, everything I'm doing, I'm in
It's
control
coming
of.
from you.
It's coming from me.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Unlike the tango situation where you're just leading the physical and emotional aspect of it. Is that the way you feel it, or do you look at
Well,
the
it's
audience
different.
as the follower? Your audience, your musical audience, is a follower.
No, I don't think. The only way, if I'm playing music,
There is a connection, right?
yeah, there is a connection, but it's an interesting question. I'm not thinking of the audience when I play music, but I want to play music that an audience can relate to, that a listener can relate to.
Right.
You know, I think that the most effective tool for me in learning how to play decently was when I started recording myself all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I would listen to myself and just kind of like, I think if you record yourself dancing tango and you look at it,
Yeah. Have you gotten into that?
yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, the first reaction
great.
when you listen to yourself playing is,
Yeah.
I'm horrible. There's just a bunch of disconnected notes, you know? And I mean, I had this steady gig, a weekly gig at a place in San Rafael, and I started recording myself, and I'd realize it's just notes. I'm not playing music.
Yeah.
And by and by, I remember the first time I listened to something that I played, because I'd play it at night when I came home, and I'd go, oh, that's music. That's music, and it was simpler. I wasn't trying to play. Before that, I play this pattern, I play that pattern, you know, try and do this hip thing. And instead it was, oh no, I'm just trying to be melodic.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to play a melody.
Yeah.
And then I would string together that more and more until it would finally get to the point where, oh yeah, that was all melodic. And some people learn that much earlier. You know, if I had played when I was younger,
Yeah.
played in a rock and roll band or something, like, which is the way you should learn how to play, then I would have learned that right away. But instead I learned it, instead I took on this incredibly complicated music first, which is ass backwards. You should really play blues or rock and roll first. But,
Yeah.
but that was, so.
You can apply some of those lessons to tango.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If you're trying to do some pattern,
yeah, it's a step.
It's like, you got to be playing music. You've got to be dancing so that your follower feels what you're doing.
Right.
So it's not an audience, but it's pretty similar. And,
Yeah. Interesting. Your practice, a lot of your time was spent practicing music, and you were all by yourself.
Yeah.
And there's some of the time when you're practicing tango that you're by yourself, but there's a lot of time, though, that you're practicing with a partner. And that's kind of the thing that's keeping me in tango in these times that we're in right now, where everything, our whole universe of people now, politicians, everybody, even financial people, want to separate us out into individuals and separate us from one from another, and they don't want us to meet or get together and compare notes. And they want to eliminate colleges and all that. Education is down. They want us to be dumb and stuff. And there's really not much that we can do about it. But there's a huge thing that we can all do, and that is to get together, to connect, and new friends, old friends, meet people, but meet person to person, not on the internet. Touch the flesh, listen to music, and dance together. I always feel so much better when I'm on the dance floor dancing. I don't think about any of that other stuff. And I think that a lot of people are experiencing that same thing. What is your experience now? Are you feeling that community as you've been developing community now? I see you developing friends.
I think I don't see it as a reaction to what's happening politically.
No.
I mean, what's happening politically is horrible.
Of it. Yeah.
But the community of dancers, which to me, that's not unique to tango. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had tons of friends who were salsa dancers.
Okay.
Especially when the old Allegro Ballroom was together. There was really a crew of us.
Right.
We would just hang out in the corner,
Oh, great.
In fact, there's a guy, George. What's George's last name? I can't remember George's last name. But I would go to these dances and I would ask women to dance, but I wouldn't talk to them, And I remember being at a dance and watching George, and George is just sitting in a corner, surrounded by a bunch of women and a couple of men, but mostly women, and he's just chatting it up. Uh-huh. And I thought, I got to hang out with George. That's where this is at. And so I just kind of joined that group, and that transformed my whole relationship to dancing in that community, because then, I'm in this community of dancers, and the swing community I'm in is incredible. I mean, it's in San Rafael, and all the people who took from a particular teacher over there just formed this group of, they call themselves the Swing Nuts, and started, there's a whole list of us on the internet, and I get a thing every week that tells me where's the dance this week, and we're just a gang.
Yeah.
And I go to a dance with Swing Nuts there. I have to make sure I dance with everybody.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. So maybe I get to dance with somebody a couple of times. Even like there's some women I don't particularly like dancing with them. I have to, that's
they're in the gang.
They're in the gang, right? So I love that. I mean, I'm a very social person. I'm a very talkative person, and so. Yeah, I love that. It's true for tango, and it's true for swing and salsa. And even in my video world, we're kind of, we're sort of a family.
Yeah.
The people, who I'm very good friends with the people I've worked with for years and years and years. I've been doing it a long time, so it's...
You're blessed. And
very, very, very blessed.
yeah, and a lot of people don't have that in their life.
Yeah, and you hear about, you're older, I'm older, and I guess I shouldn't touch my microphone here. I remember reading that, the big problem with people as they get into their 70s and 80s is they get very lonely and they don't have friends. And I'm thinking, man, I got more friends now than I've ever had at any time in my life.
Yeah.
And so many of these people, I know I could count on them.
Yeah.
Something happened to me.
Right.
I mean, I had cancer, throat cancer, about 7, 8 years ago. And I had to be driven to radiation every day.
Wow.
And this is before I started dancing. And I had to make a website with everybody in my film world who lived just in Marin, with their names on them, to arrange for rides.
Oh.
And I had to tell people, no, I'm sorry, you've already taken me twice, and I have to have somebody else take me.
Right.
So I had different people taking me every day, 5 days a week.
And you had enough friends to go.
Oh yeah, I would show up at the radiation place, and I remember the secretary saying, "You got a lot of friends, don't you?" And I told her, "Well, we're all unemployed."
Yep. Yeah. Well, we used to have large gatherings here at the house between 80 and 120 people.
Wow.
Dancing. We had live music here behind.
Well, when are you going to do that again?
Yeah, we will. We're not going to have as big of parties. We're done with that. But we have about.
You've aged out of it, huh?
I want to switch away from this part of the conversation.
Okay.
No, but we have a sweet spot of about 40 people now, and that still fills the floor. 40 people, and we have good times. But full sit-down dinner for everybody, live music, and we typically would honor somebody in the community, pictures and stuff. And
that's what you're doing with your website, right?
Yeah, and
that's why I'm here. That's what this is.
That's what got me onto the web. This video will go on to housetango.com, and you'll have a personal profile. And it'll be evergreen on that. It'll just be there, for people to see. And it'll just stay there. And then when they're in a milonga, they'll say, "Who is that guy? I can't remember his name. I knew him, 5 years ago." Then you go up to housetango.com and go to membership and flip through the pictures, and there he is. Yeah, they'll see you, and then they go to the website and they'll see the video, and So that's just going to be part of this whole thing about creating community. That's what I'm all about. As I get older, that's it for me. That's what I want to do.
It's wonderful, and I know that if I had cancer again, I could count on the dancers I know to drive me.
Right.
Because it's love. It's just a huge community, and
I see people all the time. They come up to me and they say, "I remember being at your house," and that was 5, 6 years ago. And I think we started in like 2014, went for 4 or 5 years after that. And then we went to public places. And, we did Nadir, tango, and all that. But the point being, there's probably 1,000 people that have been to my house.
Wow.
I mean, people everywhere, and they remember, and that's just so meaningful to me that I want that to be part of my life. I mean, I felt so great just having people in my life. I mean, it's one of the most important things. They say that when you're on your deathbed, the thing that's most often said is, "I don't regret not making the money I wanted to, or making all this money and spending my whole life just chasing the dollar. But I do regret not having enough friends. I should have spent more time doing that. I should have spent time with my family and my community and stuff, and that's the only regret they have. I don't want to have that regret. Pete's
Yeah,
sake.
me neither. I mean, that's why I didn't go to LA
Yeah.
to pursue my dream. I chose my family,
Yeah. Right.
you know, and
exactly.
that
So,
I don't have any regrets
Yeah.
about making that choice
Yeah.
at all.
yeah. Yeah. So what do you see in your future and in this world? You know, in the politics that we have, and what do you see for yourself? And how does tango enter into that vision?
Wow, that's a hell of a question. Well, that's a very challenging question, Gregory. I am not somebody who's ever I don't plan my life.
Right.
You know, I mean, I never expected to become a musician.
Right.
Last thing in the world that I ever expected to happen. And when I went to college, I didn't think I'd come out a filmmaker or a cameraman. I never took an art class. You know,
Wow.
I just, in high school, even in college, I didn't take an art class.
Yeah, yeah.
I just, you know, I fell into this thing that I fell in love with.
Yeah,
And I've kind of always been that way, which is lovely, and it also it also means that I haven't necessarily accomplished anything great. I mean, I don't feel accomplished in my career.
Right.
I feel like I'm, you know, an amateur musician, but I've gotten to play
Right.
all the music that I love.
Yeah.
I may not have played it well, but I've played all the Coltrane tunes,
Right,
and I've
right.
played all, you know, I've played all the Horace Silver tunes and all the standards, you know, all the music that you go dancing to at a swing dance. I know those songs, you know,
Yeah.
and that's wonderful
Yeah.
to
yeah.
me. As far as going forward, I mean, you know, I feel like an imposter here at this, being interviewed for a tango website, because I'm just a beginner, you know, I'm not a good tango dancer. I'm working hard on it. I
Yeah.
practice at home and
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
but I'm not a good tango dancer yet, you know, I'm not.
Well, have you discovered the incremental improvements? They're small.
Oh, yeah.
But they're very satisfying, aren't they?
They are satisfying, and you know, I have heard from a lot of women, oh, you got better, you're getting better. And then the next day I'll hear, you know, I'm not getting enough from your chest, or I took a lesson. I have a friend who's a salsa dancer, and she's, you know, she was a ballet dancer, and she's a very good tango dancer. I exchanged some video for her in exchange for tango lessons. And
Yeah, yeah.
we had a lesson yesterday, and it was just correction after correction after correction after correction, which is all great. It's incredibly humbling.
Yeah.
But she started off by saying, well, first of all, you're a lot better than last time. So, but in terms of what, you know, I mean, one of my main goals really at this point in life
Yeah.
is I want to be able to hold on to my house so
Yeah.
I can leave it to my daughter.
Yeah.
That's really, I would say, my principal goal
Okay.
in life. You know, because I don't have much money to leave her, but I have a house that's worth
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to keep working
Right.
to be able to do that. I've kind of, the work as a cameraman is really, the bottom has fallen out of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
business.
Okay.
And also I'm probably somewhat aged out of it. So I've gotten into doing color correction work, which I
Yeah.
really kind of love. So I'm trying to build that up as a career, which is sort of nutty at 77. But and I'm still trying to play music, and I mean, I had some setbacks, some medical setbacks that
Oh, yeah, the cancer.
really
Yeah.
affected I lost my control of my jaw.
Oh my God.
which is a long story, but
Seems
I
to
can
work okay now.
Well, it works for talking, but it's very hard to play. I can't
Oh,
play
I see.
like I used to be able to
see.
play by any means.
Yeah.
The only reason I can play now is my friends keep asking me to come over and play. And I say, well, why do you want me to play with you? But I'm working hard at home at getting better at that. I work hard at tango.
Yeah.
Recently, I started working on some salsa things, trying to learn how to dance in a different way, dance casino style. So I don't know. That's it. I'm just trying to keep doing what I do.
Okay.
I want to survive. I want to stay healthy,
Right.
and I'm not. I don't think of myself as an artist. I'm not an artist who's trying to create.
Right.
Oh, this is my work of art. But everything I do really is about art.
Yeah.
I'm a craftsman. My work as a cameraman it's a craft.
Yeah.
Dancing is kind of a craft.
true.
You're not trying to express myself on the dance floor. This is Lenny's style. God, no, I just want someone to say, oh, thank you, that was nice.
Exactly.
But it's all art. I mean, actually, I think that art is the only thing that matters to anybody in the world,
Could be.
which is a whole nother.
Yeah, it's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. I mean, a woman once said that to me, and the more I thought about it, what else matters to anybody?
That's right.
Idea is
Yeah.
how important art is.
Yeah.
Tango is definitely an art.